All right, we are back with part 4 of how to have hard conversations with your parents. And before we dive into the how to, like, share, subscribe, so that you can keep this or share it with someone that who needs it. Hopefully, this is something that's been helpful so far. I'm going to give you 2 more tips today that will help contribute to your conversation with your parents. So, let's talk about why these conversations are so important in the first place. When we avoid difficult conversations with our parents, we're essentially just letting conversations fester. Conflicts don't resolve themselves, important topics don't get addressed, and then what we find is that the distance between you and your parents, it just keeps growing. And that's not a good thing. But when you do have these conversations, even when they're uncomfortable, you actually are showing respect for your relationship. And you're saying, this matters enough to me that I'm willing to work through the hard stuff. And I'm proud of you for even watching this with the intention of having a conversation with your parent that could help prepare you and your family for whatever comes in the future. So, the first component I want to talk about is something that might seem obvious, but it's actually really nuanced, and that's offering support to your parents the right way. The key word here is offer. You're not swooping in to fix everything or taking over their lives. That's not what this is. You're letting them know that you're available and willing to help in whatever way that they actually need. So you saying something like, I want you to know that I'm here to support you however you need. Is there anything specific you'd like for me to help with? Notice how different that is from, here's what I think you should do, or taking over everything completely and saying, well, just let me handle this for you. Sometimes the support they need isn't what you think it is. Maybe you're thinking they need help with groceries, but what they really may need is somebody that will listen to their concerns about a health issue. Maybe you think they need financial advice, but they may just actually want you to know that you will be there for them emotionally. So ask first and then listen to their answer. The next thing that I want to touch on is just planning for the future together. Now, we're getting into the really heavy stuff, but this is where the conversations become incredibly valuable for your whole family and especially you. And it really benefits your relationships for you to have these conversations. I can't reiterate that enough. But when I talk about having discussions about planning the future together, I'm talking about exploring topics like healthcare, legal matters, housing options, and yeah, I hate to say it, but even end of life wishes. I know nobody wants to have those conversations. Nobody wants to think about this stuff. And honestly, when I do, I tear up and I get this big old knot in my throat. And it's uncomfortable. But having these conversations now, when everybody's clear headed, everybody's healthy, you're not in crisis mode, it's one of the best gifts that you can give each other for multiple reasons. But I'm going to start with the practical stuff. Have they ever created or updated their will? Do they have documents like wills, living wills, and power of attorneys? Do they have their healthcare preferences documented? What are their thoughts about different housing options as they age? Here's the thing, don't turn this into an interrogation or a lecture. Just frame it as if you're planning together, because that's exactly what you're doing. You might say something like, I want to make sure I can support you in the way you'd want if something ever happens. Can we talk about what that would look like? I think your parents will respect that. And remember, these don't all have to be covered in one conversation. And really and truly, they probably shouldn't be, because that's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And then that can, how do I want to say this? That could turn really dark very quickly. So maybe you start with healthcare preferences one month and then talk legal documents another time. At the end of the day, the goal is to have these conversations before they become urgent decisions made in a hospital waiting room or during family crisis when you can't get answers from them or you need opportunity to think through the most logical or best case scenario. There's going to be so many other things on your mind at that point. As much as you can plan in advance, it allows you an opportunity to really show up should something happen, when something happens, as your parents get older. So here's the bottom line. Difficult conversations with your parents don't have to be something you dread. Just approach them thoughtfully, the right timing, the right mindset, the right strategies, and they can actually bring you all closer together. And I always say this, just remember that your parents are human too. They want to understand you And what you really want to do is understand them, because the most important thing is to make sure that they are living their lives with dignity and on their own terms, but just with your help. The relationship you have with your parents is one of the most important relationships of your life, and it's worth investing in even when it's hard work. So I hope this helped. I will continue to add. I think I have 2 more videos that I want to do on this. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and come back and check me out. And drop in the comments if there is something else that you want to learn about, or even share an experience that you have that could be beneficial to someone else watching this. See you soon.